Hey, welcome back to the 5th episode of Chief Concerns, the very first true Kansas City Chiefs debate-style show with former Chiefs players debating the current team. We're here with our hosts, former tight end Jason Dunn and former cornerback Eric Warfield. It's Thanksgiving week, fellas. How are you guys doing?
What up? What up?
Good. What's happening? What's happening? Yeah. Woo! We got that win.
Very thankful.
Well, it's funny, we go from Raiders week to Thanksgiving week. Based on the stories you guys were telling me last week, two totally different types of weeks.
That is, but hey, at least it's a victory week, so.
Yeah, shoot. Hey, you know what? If you had lost, the gravy would have been sour, the turkey would have been stale.
Turkey dry.
Oh man, it'd have been horrible. It'd have been horrible. Now everything's gonna be a little bit sweeter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like eating dinner at the beginning of that game. I stopped midway through. I couldn't finish my quesadillas. I was way too nervous.
Oh yeah, so we had, like I was explaining earlier, we have a group text of about 15 former players, and I even had to chime in. I was like, man, this is not a good game. Like the Raiders are looking way better than us. Like they drive down the field quicker, score quicker with ease, and we're having 10 to 15 play drives just to get it in the end zone. It just wasn't looking good, but we ended up pulling it out with Magic Man or whatever we're calling Patrick Mahomes. So he was able to go out and get it done for us.
I tell you what, man, they had my nephew sent me a tweet, and I guess it was when they had just got Le'Veon Bell. So Thanos has the big old the power glove. Mm-hmm. So he was sitting there like stacking everybody. Of course, they had like Tyreek as one, Kelsey as another, CAH as another one. So they got Le'Veon Bell. It was like he was taking that last one to put in the power glove. So he's like Thanos out there right now. So that Joker, he's another one. I tell you, I used to always hate this dude coming out there on the field, man. The last drive of the game, it never failed. I don't care what time it was. If I see him on TV, it was Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning used to always get that little water when he run out. Like I'm like, here he comes. Yeah. Here we go. But that's what Patrick had when he came out, man. He had that little swagger come back after on the fourth quarter, last drive of the game, man. And that's what we needed. We needed that right there. That swag.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when they scored fast, I gotta say I don't know if it was intentional, but the offsides from Chris Jones, when they accepted that penalty, they just stopped the clock there, and they were going to score anyway in that drive based on the way they were going that entire game. But that was actually kind of a huge play, the whole offsides call.
Yeah,
they probably would have run that. They probably would have gotten that first down and let the clock run a little bit, and then probably score.
True.
Mm-hmm.
It was that game. So my little controversy against that entire game is that I feel like the Raiders kind of stopped themselves on a lot of those drives because there's some key misses. I think the fullback had a couple, receivers had a couple, to where they could have gone up 2 touchdowns on us or an extra field goal. And it was just a matter of them dropping balls that hit them dead in their hands. But that's how good that their offense was playing at the time. And that's how good their offense played the first game we played against them. So for whatever we're doing defensively, if we don't stack up well against the Raiders when it comes to game day.
I tell you what, the fullback, you're talking about him, man, I thought that joker was on the tape. Where he was dropping balls and missing. I was like, oh, Lord, do we give him a bag or something before the game?
Yeah, kidding.
Yeah, so I tell you what, at the last bit, man, he was saving us just because, and it was a drop here, a drop there, and I seen him miss a block. But that was, it was when you talk about, tight game, and I almost knew, because I always said this, every game that we played, it was always with the Raiders, it's always going to be like a tight one. It's just like that. And if you think about it, they actually had the momentum going into the game because, the beat is an Arrowhead. So, of course, we take it there, carry it home to them. They think, well, shoot, here we got right now the momentum coming to the game. We have them at home. And this whole controversy about the whole bus, comes out too. So to them, they was just like, look, we ain't got nothing to lose. We coming out here. We just going to go ahead and give it to them. And the way they just, the very first drive of the game, when they went down and just scored on us, I'm like, uh-oh, like these guys right here ain't playing. They not scared. They ain't worried about, any of Kansas City coming in worried about any type of revenge. They came out here to try to lay the hammer, and they did a good job, though. They did a good job. But,
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I guess it's into our first concern, which we kind of been talking about anyways, but the Chiefs won that game, right? But if you look at all the national media, all the pundits out there, everyone's talking about how the Raiders, right? The Raiders were the team to talk about. They lost, but they looked amazing. Would you say this game says more about the Chiefs or the Raiders?
Well, I think the Raiders have been consistently playing that way throughout the season. I think it says more about who we are and who we thought we were. And mainly defensively. I just don't think that our defensive front seven is putting the pressure on the way we were last year. Chris Jones isn't. I'm not saying he's not dominant, but he's just not applying that pressure up the middle like he was last year. Frank Clark is not coming off the end the way he did last year. Our linebackers aren't making the plays in open field the way they were known to. I think Tyron and Sorensen are playing really good ball. Sorensen has really stepped up his play this year, but at times he's being caught, one-on-one with, tight ends that are probably more athletic than he is. And Waller had a good game, the tight end for the Raiders. But it's just that our playmaking ability defensively hasn't been there this year. We haven't had the pressure on the quarterback to create those bad throws, and to see the way that Derek Carr was able to just drive down the field every time they got the ball. And I think for the few times that they did have to punt, it was because of a drop ball, not because of a pass that a bad pass or that we had pressure on it. It's just because they dropped the ball.
Yeah, I think it carries into conversations really to me. So I think it speaks volumes for the Raiders that they're actually not as bad as I thought they were. And they're actually a pretty good football team. And I know they got some pieces on offense, but I think the defense did a really good job holding up, at least for what, we can do. And so, I think to them it was all about matchups. Now, on our side, the conversation, what did it say about us? Keep going back to the same thing, right? Some concerns on the offensive line, not getting to rush the ball like we wanted to. A little bit better this, to me, than we have been in the past, few weeks. But man, that I wouldn't say that front four, but I'm gonna say that seven, right? The defensive front. When you talking about no pressure whatsoever, just didn't see it at all during the game. Carr had as much time as he wanted back there, and I don't care what quarterback you have, he's gonna pick you apart. So it just you gave him enough time for guys to get open, and I don't care. As a DB, and he could probably speak to this, you just want, man, look, y'all just get some pressure so we can hold him up. We don't leave a guy on the island and just leave him out there all alone to cover a guy for 6 or 7 seconds. As a receiver, offensively, we just gonna hit you. Because we just, we do the little scramble drill toward the end when the guy's getting some pressure and whatnot, try to get open. And Carr's gonna see that. And then you was talking about Sorensen against Waller. Look, Waller, let's be honest, he was a wide receiver in college. Moved into tight end. He's a gifted, athletic tight end, man. Probably one of the best athletic tight ends out there in the league. So that's always like a tough matchup for a safety. I guess just defensively, man, I just didn't really see a whole lot of pressure, man. And they actually just kind of did what they wanted to do offensively, man. They drove the ball against us, but also too, they was able to manage the clock. And it was like first down after first down. And that was like the best way to negate Patrick Mahomes and offense, keep him on the sideline.
Yeah.
Really simple.
Yeah, no, Jason, you talked about the running game. That leads us to our next concern, which, our running game did look a little better this week. But for Chiefs concern number 2, for weeks we've been talking about how this team needs to become more of a take-what-you-can-get kind of offense instead of a chunk play offense. And this Sunday, we saw them execute and score touchdowns on 3 different 12-play drives. What does it say about the maturity of the offense and Mahomes, taking what the defense has given them?
they, you know what, they do a good job with that anyway. Like I said, we got the best offense in the NFL, no doubt about it. Just with him back there, and then just pieces around him, no question. But you don't want to keep getting into like a shootout at the end and just keep relying on his arm. I mean, what you do is with the run, you got to, you set up the run so you can establish the pass too, right? That's what you try to do. So you try to take a little bit off that where you don't have to always just constantly pass against the defense. And when you become one-dimensional, you don't want to just constantly do that because teams going to start figuring it out. Well, all of a sudden we're just going to send another guy, another blitzer, and we'll be able to get you. But I've seen there was a couple of calls that when I'm seeing now and I'm listening to it, I love just the audio on the field because you can hear the calls. So I can hear Patrick actually sliding the offensive line. He's calling, cover zero. He's calling the coverage out. So guys know right now in the route if you're the primary receiver or the secondary receiver. But also too, the line knows because he's put in position to at least like, hey, look, we're going to go over and slide over here. I heard him call rock, which is probably slide right, Leah's slide left. And so he was doing it. And I'm seeing a little bit more of that. He's been doing that for the past 3 games. I meant to say it a couple weeks ago, but I've been hearing him since he was getting all those sacks that he's actually, dictating what the line does for his protection, which is a lot better.
So I said it last week. Our offense is going to get 30 points every game. And if you can average 30 points per game, then you just want your defense to go out there and get a couple of stops. That's it. Right now, our defense, we're kind of underperforming because we haven't gotten those stops. And that's my main concern. Being a former defensive player and also being a fan and spectator is that we're just not coming up with the stops when we need them. Now, I don't know if we're putting too much trust into what our offense can do and will do. But right now, it's Patrick is out there kind of like James Harden. He's going to go out and give you 30, 10, and 10, and Patrick basically is going to go out and give you 30 points and almost 300 yards per game. So it's just a matter of who can put up the most points that game, and I don't think we should kind of live by that motto of us just trying to go out and outscore a team. So we gotta, as a coaching staff, figure out how to get our front seven to add more pressure, to give less time to the DBs so that they can make plays, and that we're not having these. There was a lot of big throws in that Raiders game, like wide open, and so we got to figure a lot of that stuff out. We're in the part of the season to where it's important. Every play, every down is important. So we got to figure some things out, and who's going to be able to make plays when certain defenses are called. And right now, we don't have anybody that's making those plays.
Man, I'll tell you what, man, and to be honest with you, I think part of the problem is, you lose Taco, right, for the year. I think, he's on IR. You said he's lost for the year. I mean, we had to really think about bringing a guy in. And I think, man, you had to bring the old Piranha in, man. You might have to bring him back out of retirement.
Scruggs.
Yeah, you had to bring that joker out. At least, the big gummy dude. You got to bring him out, man. He's gonna give you just enough of that terror that is gonna put some pressures on defense just based off his reputation alone of what he's done in the past. And so he came in for the Super Bowl win. I think now we need to make a couple phone calls and get on the phone. Hey, call him up, Darrell, let him know we need him this week. And so yeah. I think that's the reality of it. We're gonna have to find another pass rusher or somebody that's gonna be able to apply that pressure. Period. Point blank.
Oh, I agree. And Chris Jones being in the middle, he's going to get double teamed a lot. So it's not a whole lot he can do. He is one of the top defensive linemen in the game. He's not as dominant as Aaron Donald, but he does require attention. They're going to double team him a lot when he's lined up. So that means those defensive ends and they have to get up the field. They got to make plays. Those linebackers got to get through gaps and get to the quarterback. And right now, we don't have any of that as of now, as of what I've seen in the last few games.
Hey, Jason, you mentioned the audibles, how you could hear that because there's nobody in that stadium on Sunday. For this game, I think because it was in domes, we heard it more often than we have so far. But as a fan, watching that, it's like, oh, that's just cool. You can hear what they're saying, right? But as a coach, if you're an opposing coach, are you watching that game because you study? I mean, could you be able to, I guess, pull some things from watching and hearing the audibles and the different shifts and stuff? Could you kind of like scout that game out as an opposing coach, or no?
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, coverages is one thing, because everybody's pretty much consistent with coverages. But you can change up what you call your coverage if you want to. All the basic ones are 0, 1, 2, 4, 3. But you get into 5 and 6, was a little bit more combination. But then you start getting into like some of the calls, and all you have to do is just run the tape back. Well, what did they do on this play, right? And you start it's a jigsaw. You start putting the pieces together. Mm-hmm. And so when I'm sitting over there, I'm watching it. I would rewind it. I'm like, okay, this is what this call means. Because I'm watching the offensive line. I'm watching how the receivers are listening to, his calls too. So I'm watching his hand signals. So all of that goes into it. If I'm doing it, that's what you do as a coach. You just scout everything, every little tendency, every little nuance, just to get that upper hand against a team. So yeah, definitely. That's what a coach definitely does. Listen to the calls. Hey, he called this. This is what we're going to run. It's a chess game out there.
It is. You got to understand, Mark, like, most of the preparation for a game is in a film room, is watching film. We go out on the field for about an hour and a half, 2 hours a day. Back in days we was practicing 3-4 hours, but nowadays you get an hour and a half, 2 hours on the field. So yeah, you try to watch certain tendencies, like as far as alignment, as with the hash marks, as far as personnel trips or 2 tight end sets, and you have an idea of what's going to happen. Yet those playbooks are almost that thick. So there's a lot of plays that come within that, and you can change a lot of that up just with dialect. Just giving it a different name, and I'm pretty sure we have to, because yes, they do listen for certain things, and some of those are going to stay true. But you're not going to get a full game of what we ran against the Raiders in next week's game. So we're not going to have those same play calls labeled as the same play calls. They're going to be different name calls for them. They're going to have different sets, are going to have different routes. So there's a lot that comes with it. So you think you can find ways, but these guys have been in this game for so long to where they understand. Like Jason said, it's a chess match. I'm going to pretend like I'm running the same play last week, and all of a sudden, if your players aren't disciplined enough to run their defense, they're going to get duped and fall for it. We got big yardage out of it. So it is a big chess match, and it's all about discipline.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you an example. So I heard on the game, somebody said James Harden, right? You said James Harden. Well, somebody was asking me, what does James Harden mean? I said, man, it could be one-on-one, right? Because he's a great one-on-one player. Or it could be Houston, which offensively, it could be slants that you could be running. So a lot of this is just dummy calls, right? Like he said, the next week, hey, they heard James Harden. We'll keep it on James Harden. They think we're going to run something. We're going to run something else. And so it's just different meaning to it. But that's what it is. It's just constantly give dummy calls, trying to fake you out, window dressing. That's what football is. It really is.
Right. I gotta say, I did like the Raiders that calls. I think they had James Harden. I heard Chris Mullins too. I heard a bunch of old school NBA players.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So that brings us to our next concern here. We kind of alluded to talking about the defensive struggles, but for the past 2 games, the Chiefs have been dismal at getting stops on third down, specifically third down. During the Carolina game, the Panthers were able to have sustained long drives. And the Raiders on the opposite spectrum of that, they averaged 4.5 minutes on all of their touchdown drives during this game on Sunday. Based on what you've seen recently, what needs to change? And we talked about the pass rush, but anything as far as you're seeing in the secondary, Eric?
I don't know if it's they're giving Tyrann Mathieu a different role this year. He's not as involved in a lot of the passing games. It seems like he's doing more one-on-one stuff instead of just playing a free safety role at roaming the back end, of which he's dangerous at, because you never know what he's gonna do or where he's gonna be at, and he's able to make those big plays when he's back there. So they kind of got him in the box a lot more. And I mean, he's able to make the plays when he's down in the box. He had a big play stop on Jacobs on a run that he just came shooting the gap. But for me, a guy with his ability, I love him in the roaming area as a free safety to be able to make plays. Yet he's known as a playmaker from college until his time now, and he's made a lot of big plays for us throughout his time here. It's just that now I can't say that we're getting exposed in the secondary, but it kind of looks that way. But I also noticed that we don't, like I said earlier, we just don't have the pressure up front to where these quarterbacks are making bad throws. And it's like if you're able to put it in his chest, you know, you got a completion after so long. So, and Bridgewater did a good job of that, carrying the ball, driving the ball down the field, and the Raiders did an excellent job because, like I said, other than them dropping balls, we couldn't stop them.
Jason.
Yeah, I had to agree with you, especially with talking about the honey badger. You know, I seen him down in the box several times, and actually, it seemed like he was coming down to get pressure. And I seen him one time, like he was just standing there, and he came late, and I was just like, "What is he doing?" You know, it wasn't like a green dog blitz, meaning like if your guy stays in, you blitz, right, or you covered him one-on-one. So it wasn't anything like that. So I love him, like you said, man, as a free hitter. He's got to be that headhunter in the middle. I mean, and what you do is, you know, you set the tone. From back there, with somebody like him, he's got to be one of those guys that cleats a receiver or a tight end, right? That sets the tone for the game. And that gets all the guys on defense hyped up too. So when guys see it, everybody just starts playing with that energy. So you got to get him more involved. To me, it just seemed like he kind of got lost. And when I did see him, he seemed like he was just a step behind. And so I don't know if it was just a scheme in itself, but also too, like you said, it was just the lack of pressure where they were getting that was putting him in a position. And so I remember the one that the DB, you know, fell down. It looked like he got pushed. Man, it was too easy in the end zone, just one-on-one. I'm just like, oh, man, if it's going to be like that and it's going to be that easy, then I always allude to this. When you're talking about going deep into the playoffs and where you at, when you start seeing these other teams, then that's when you tend to worry. And that's what I'm always gauging with somebody like right now, Pittsburgh, who's undefeated. I mean, them jokers look wonderful out there. They did, offensively and defensively. And so, you know, they always going to have that about them. And so it's going to be one of those things. And like, look, you got to shore this stuff up right now. You have to. It's just going to the drawing board. Like I said, you got to bring a guy in that's going to be able to bring some pressure. But that's my concern. You've got to bring something to a quarterback or a running back, penetration, pressure, just to get the defense, you know, singing like they should be.
And Eric, you and I talked before the show about the kind of the scuttle that it appeared that Chris Jones and L'Jarius Sneed got into on the sideline. You know, on Twitter, all these Raider fans, oh, look at the Chiefs sideline. They're imploding on the sideline as the game goes on right now. Is there, I mean, I'm sure everyone's, you know, seeing that on the sidelines of the road team and stuff, but is this kind of stuff that can bring you together, have the opposite effect of, you know, the implosion, as, you know, a lot of Raiders fans were saying?
Oh, yeah. Now, granted, you don't ever want to show frustration. You don't want to show like you're not a team player. And during times like that, when your defense, and it's all 11 guys out there, there's not one particular guy that just had an excellent game during that the Raiders win. So it's the whole defensive unit, and that just gave up those entire drives throughout the game. And yet you saw they mentioned how the coaches were on the sideline and they brought the defense and they were like, you know, talking to the defense and explaining what's going on and what they're not doing. And then later on the scuffle happened. And the only thing I could think of is that somebody had to have said something about what another person is not doing and why they're driving the ball down the field. And that's due to frustration because you as a unit, is nothing in particular. You won't have to point one person out, but that's you as a unit. You know, that one phrase that they've always said is there's no I in team, and there isn't. So when something's happening to your defense, and if it's one person, you figure out a way to either give that person support from a safety standpoint or a linebacker, or you just add pressure with the front seven. So you can't really just point out one person and say, okay, you're doing this and you're hurting our defense. And so I'm assuming that somebody had to have said something about why we can't get off the field, or oh, it's your fault, or you didn't do this, you didn't do that, due to frustration of not being able to get off the field and giving up those points. But what was said, I don't know. And I asked myself, like, I wonder what was said also during the game.
Tell you what, you always, it never fails. In the game, it's almost, of course, we're professionals. If something goes wrong, it's almost like you're never satisfied. If you're doing well, you want to keep it being perfect and keep doing well. And so, I hear guys sometimes, just kind of, fussy guys or whatever. And usually guys kind of blow it off, right? It's like, I know he's frustrated, but you get on yourself if you know you didn't do something right, you do it correctly. So you don't really need somebody else to come to you about getting you, together and getting yourself out there. But you know what? It looks, the optics of it looks horrible. It does, no doubt about it. And sometimes, look, like I said, we all get paid. Okay, we all grown men, and sometimes that's why I have an issue. So when they talk about Tom Brady, this has to come in and start fussing at people. Like, look, wait a minute, hold on, Tom. Listen, look, you better go over and sit over and eat your avocado ice cream. Okay, get up out of here with that, because look, we all out here, we all trying to do well. Ain't like we're not trying to do well. So you gotta just make sure, man. It's got to be respectful when you do things like that. But
yeah,
hey, Chris Jones, when that Joker came over to them three, they was all huddled together like behind each other. I was like, oh Lord, you look like he was talking to three kids.
Yeah,
but part of it. But I just, I think, the optics of it's bad. You just want you don't want everybody to be respectful. Like I said, we are professionals out there. And so when a guy kind of fusses and stuff, I mean, I understand that's just part of the game. That's part of the deal. Just try to hype each other up. But sometimes when it goes too far, where the guy's kind of getting in somebody's face and does things, then you're just like, wait a minute, hold on. Like, let's calm this down, chill this out a little bit.
Right. And it was a beautiful segue there, Jason. You mentioned Tom Brady and his avocado ice cream, which I thought that was hilarious. But our next topic, this coming week, the Chiefs will be traveling to Tampa Bay to take on Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, who have dropped 2 of their last 3 games. Eric, you play with this guy. How is it the kind of game plan for a guy like Tom Brady?
So to me, he's the GOAT of all quarterbacks. And at the moment, he's struggling. Their team is struggling. But given time, Tom Brady will still pick you apart. He's still throwing some really nice balls, and he's making some big-time plays. And if we're not able to get any type of pressure, he will carve us up. But right now, their offense is out of sync. He's thrown interceptions after interception. He's almost, I don't want to say he, but the team is almost looking like the Tampa Bay of old with Jameis Winston throwing all these interceptions. I think the year before, Tom only had 2 or 3, and I think they said he's already doubled that. So, and I just hope that we can be the recipients of that next week, of this coming weekend.
Jason?
Yeah, man, I tell you what, it's going to be a good matchup for us. And to be honest with you, I think the significance of this game goes into, is this the passing of the torch, right? Is this what this signifies? Because, really, people are going to be talking about this. I know I'm thinking about it already. I was thinking about this earlier today. I'm like, man, Patrick Mahomes against Tom Brady. And what Tom was able to do, Patrick's going to, at least, he's going to try to, outdo. And so it's going to be that matchup between these 2 guys. And, we got the young guy coming in with the old school, and how's it going to be? So I think, man, it's going to be this deal that, this to me, it's going to be the Super Bowl. That's what I believe. I believe this is going to be the Super Bowl matchup. So
it's possible, but we played them before. We played Brady with the Jedi King of Belichick, and we've beaten them. So interesting that you say that, because I hate the comparison. It's like, oh, we got Mahomes playing against Brady. Those guys will never ever compete against each other. It's Brady against our defense, and it's Patrick against Tampa Bay defense. So I hate when they say, okay, Peyton outplayed Brady, or Patrick outplayed, because they don't play against each other. You know, it's different than saying like, okay, who was it last night?
Goff.
No, the cornerback from the Rams.
Ramsey.
Yeah, so it's different when you say Ramsey against Evans, because that's an actual competition. You know, Ramsey gets to travel with Evans. You know, that's a matter of, okay, I'm gonna match you on every play on every move that you make during this game. It's completely different, and I just hate when they do those comparisons and one quarterback outdoes the other quarterback and it's okay, you outplayed him. No,
well,
that defense.
Come on now. Hold on. I disagree with you there. Look, look. Hey, E, man, we talking about bragging rights here, right? This is bragging rights. And I know in the back of your head, you know, he's sitting over here and everybody's like, yeah, it's not really against us, but he's watching what Tom is doing. Tom is watching what he is doing. I mean, it's just that competitive spirit, because now they're talking about, you know, the best in the game. And these two guys want to be the best in the game, period, right? And so you always going to watch.
I get that part, and that's you know, I think that's one thing that Patrick's going to look forward to, because yes, Tom Brady is the stepping stone to where he's trying to get to, and
right.
if he surpasses that, yeah, so we can say Mahomes is the GOAT. Right now, no one's seen a quarterback do the things that Patrick has done at his age, and to come in and win at his age, sign a contract at his age, continue to making plays at his age, to know the game as well as he does at his age. So yes, there is all that to look at, but to me, it's like nobody's won the way Tom has won. Now we can say it's because of him and Belichick together. They work well together, which is kind of proven. Yeah. You know, them breaking that relationship up was worse. It's bad for both of them. But yet, what they did together, we can't take away what Tom's done. You know, to me, he's outdone what God, I can't think of his name, from San Francisco.
Montana?
Yeah, Montana. He's outdone Montana. He's outdone Peyton Manning. He's outdone any other quarterback that's played. So, you know, he is the GOAT of quarterbacks to me. And Patrick has a chance to catch him. But that doesn't mean that Patrick can go out and throw for 200 yards and we end up winning the game, and Tom Brady can go out and throw for 500 and a loss. Does that mean, you know, Patrick didn't live up to what Tom did? I don't think so.
No, not at all. But I'm just saying, with these guys being as competitive as they are, shoot, Tom is probably getting extra vegetables, you know, this whole week, because he knows, he's like, look, you know, hey, if I don't do well, they're going to hear a little chirp in the background, like, you know, he's over the hill, he's old.
But he already knows that, though. I guarantee you, Tom already knows his age is up there, and he's trying to go out and prove a point right now. I think his point right now is that he can win without Belichick. His age, I don't think his age has anything to do with it. He already knows he's 40 plus. The world knows that. There's no way of hiding that. Right now, he's trying to prove a point that he can do things and be successful without Belichick.
I agree with you. I'm just saying, man, don't be surprised if it comes out that Giselle is over at 40, tying him in a 40-yard dash right now in his backyard.
Man, Tom in his career, if he's out there trying to throw some left-handed pass, cross-side pass, he know he can't do those things that Patrick does. So it's a matter of just going out playing this game and trying to win without Belichick.
I hear you. Giselle, get open. What are you doing?
Actually, so 2018, they met twice, one in the regular season and once in the playoffs. Tom had both those. And then last year, Mahomes won that. So right now, Mahomes is 1-2 against Brady. And then this weekend, if he wins, 2-2. So at 500.
Man, we should be 2-1 against Tom because of D4 that jumped outside. That was our first Super Bowl that we ended up not having that we should have won. So, but coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Yeah.
Actually, I do have a question about this because Shannon Sharp went on kind of a tangent on Twitter calling out Brady last night. So Brady lost last night. Didn't shake Jared Goff's hand. You can actually see they showed Jared Goff looking for Brady after the game. Brady got the heck out of Dodge. He got the heck out of there. But like Shannon Sharp kind of called it out, saying, you know, it's kind of like these temper tantrums. Like I'm finally going to call out Brady for not shaking someone's hand. Now I think, granted, Jared Goff, right? But if I think that was Mahomes, I think he wouldn't be ditching that handshake. He'd be going to the middle of the field to give Mahomes a handshake. Just that kind of thing. I mean, I mean, you kind of alluded to it, Jason, having temper tantrums on the sideline, getting upset because we lost. But is that one of those things? I know it's a COVID year, but is that one of those things you still go out and shake the other man's hand or after the game? I mean, you don't just leave because you lost.
Before Jason, to me, I think Tom was disappointed that he let his entire team down for throwing those 2 interceptions that he should not have done. So he took that as he did that. He lost that game himself, and he wanted nothing else to do with it. He just wanted to get off the field. But that's just me. I think he's a better sport than what he was painted out to be. It's just one of those things to where, hey, I let the team down myself. I just want to go back to the shower and get on this bus.
Man, come on now. Hey, look. Show a little bit of humility, right? Hey, I lost the game, but look, be a good sportsman. And he is absolutely he's a bad loser. He is. I've seen him do it a couple of times to a couple of quarterbacks too. So I always wonder, like, man, how come he just not shaking hands? So in my thought, I'm like, he either talked to the guy before the game or he's gonna call him. Sometimes these guys got their number. He's like, hey man, maybe good game, or send you a text, just telling you that. But when I see him just kind of bolt and just leave, that's just bad sportsmanship to me, to be honest with you. Really. Because it's all about respect, right? It's all about respect. So if I was Jared Goff, I would have chased him down like, hey, Tom, hey. I just wanted to, before Joe could get out of here. So
let me get that jersey.
Can I get a selfie real quick? Now, let's see it. Now, look, yeah. But I do, man. I think, man, look, sports is one of those things that, it's still that bit of like, it's a gentleman's game, right? You still want to, have a little bit of sportsmanship. You want to have a little bit of some showing good character, good sportsmanship with the guy that you're going against. I don't care who it is.
But a lot of people have done it though, JD. Heck, we even saw this year in the bubble. I think LeBron and the Lakers were losing big time in one of the games, and they just walked off before the clock was even at 0, and they were walking back to the locker room. It's just one of those, you just disappointed in your play of game, and it has nothing to do with the other team. Just me. That's just my opinion. And I don't know how they thought. And so it's just
No, I get you, but you know what? Get over yourself for a second, right? Just get over yourself for a quick second. You can still be mad once you get into the locker room. Get over yourself for a quick second. Hey, man, just give me a dap real quick, man. Good game, man. You know what? We'll see you later, whatever. And then be pissed off. You could go turn over chairs and tables all you want to once you get in the locker room. Gatorade, cuss out the equipment manager for not having your towel out there fast enough, whatever. I don't care, but man, show a little bit of class. Be classy while you're doing it, right? Everybody, I don't like losing, but when I lose, I'm at least, I'm a grumble, good game out of the side of my mouth. I'll give you at least that. So that's me. Like you said, everybody's different, right? Everybody's different.
Yeah.
Right. I think with basketball, we saw, this past summer with the what was it? The Last Dance documentary. The Pistons didn't shake hands. They got the heck out of Dodge, and then the Bulls kind of had like that. Not like they kind of had a feud for the rest of it. Isaiah and Michael don't even see each other as top 5s of all time. We're top 2 all time between the two. But I guess basketball's a little different because you got a 7-game series. Because I guess at game 3 loss, you still have game 4 to go, go shake his hand, or game 7 to go shake his hand. A game like this, who knows if Goff and Brady will see each other again. But I do remember in the AFC Championship game, when that was over, Mahomes and him didn't meet up in the field after the game. I guess Brady seeked him out in the back, and they talked and stuff. So maybe that happened.
Possible.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I do think if that was Mahomes and he dissed his handshake, I don't think Brady would have done that if it was Mahomes on the sideline. I think maybe because it was Jared Goff, maybe he didn't show, obviously it's not right, but he maybe didn't show the most respect because it was, Goff, not a Patrick Mahomes or something like that. So hopefully he does shake his hand at the Chiefs beat him on Sunday. And that goes to the next question. What's your prediction for Sunday?
Well, again, I think we scored 30+ points, even though I think their defensive front is a pressure machine. But their secondary is kind of they're weak a little bit. So we're going to be able to put up some good points, but it's just a matter of what kind of pressure we can put on Tom Brady. So I think this week I think we get 40. So I'm up in the points. I think we get 40, and they end up at 27.
Jason?
You know what? This is a tough one. I think it's going to be a better game than that. I think they got a really good defense, actually, really good defense. And I think I was going to say 28, but I'll do 35. I'll say we get over 30. But it's going to be, we're going to give us some points too. We're going to give us some points. So I think it's going to be more so 35 to 24. 35-24. That's my prediction.
I know you guys aren't big fans of the betting lines here, but Vegas has the Chiefs a 3-point favorite away. So that's Vegas has faith.
Kept it small.
Yeah.
I'm gonna change my prediction then on that. Then I got to call my bookie back up.
So I go with 40 points just because I saw what the Rams were able to do, and the Rams had only two receivers that had 10 plus catches, and both of them had almost 150 yards each. So that means they were keying in on two receivers. Jared Goff was, and he was able to be successful every time he threw with those guys. Now, we have more than two playmakers on our offense. Kelsey, who has proven that he really can't be stopped. Tyreek Hill is going to be a threat at any given point on the for the defense. Mecole Hardman's playing well. We don't know if we're going to have Sammy back. Pringles and Robinson both been playing well. So I just don't see that their secondary will be able to stop us. If you know you got only two guys and you have four in the secondary that can't stop two, how in the heck are you going to stop our whole alignment?
Yeah,
man, those two guys over there, man, they eat all the time though. I mean, that's your two studs you got, right? I mean, I tried to pick up Cup in fantasy, couldn't get it, because he's a good receiver. I mean, I'm for real. So when you talk about these two guys are probably, I want to say one of the top 5 combination in the league, to be honest with you, as far as what they do. And
Jason, that's two, not the tight end, the running back, and the other wide receiver. You got two guys that had 20 plus receptions for 300 yards.
Yeah, and they have kind of a similar style, like shorter, quicker, faster guys. They get open. They get they gets in the holes. I mean, and Jared Goff's got a cannon on him too. So I mean, he's a good quarterback. But I get the two guys and having the three. You know what I'm looking for, to be honest with you. I'm a little disappointed it didn't happen last game. But we need to get Le'Veon a little bit more touches. That's just me.
I think Le'Veon came in and did really, really well for the time he got with the catches out the backfield and the runs.
Right. But
he's one of those that I get frustrated when he gets the ball because he stops. I'm like, what the heck is he? But he hits that gear and he knows how to. That's his style. So and he picks up big yardages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think it's that Ferrari in the garage, man. Bring your joke out, man. You got to drive it fast. You got to see what you got.
You can't put too many miles on it, though.
He had that nice high step run, which I thought was awesome.
Oh yeah.
He's
a playmaker. He's definitely a playmaker. He's gonna, he's one of those that you rarely lose yards when he touches the ball. He's one of those. He's north and south. He's up and down. And even when he's running up the middle, you're not going to just stop him at the line of scrimmage. He's going to fall for at least 2 yards. So it's always a plus having him in. Yeah.
He brings that juice. That's what coaches call it. He brings that juice to the game. He got that juice. Le'Veon, man.
Yeah, he looked good this weekend. You guys said he was going to get more involved this week, and you guys called it. I think that was like his highest touch count since he's been on the team. I did think it was weird though. Why is Darrell Williams still our 2-minute drill back? Why isn't Le'Veon getting that role? Is that just come down to not grasping the playbook yet?
I don't know. I'm still high on Williams. I think he's a good back. I think mentally he's been affected because of the play of Clyde and then bringing in Le'Veon. So he's a good back. We just, we lost interest in him for some reason, and he's not getting the touches. He's not getting the time. And like I said, I think mentally he's been affected because even when he came in, he wasn't beneficial to the team. But having Le'Veon, like, how can you not, based on his talents, put him on the field? He's a proven back, from his past and to what he's done now. So, And then the young guy, Clyde is gonna give you great playmaking ability when he's got the ball in his hand. It's just in between the tackles, he's not getting those positive yardages that we need when he's got to carry the ball. Now, outside of throwing in the ball and the trickery plays, he does well with that. But we got to run power straight downhill at you. He doesn't have that kind of running back power to get you those yards, and that's what Le'Veon brings.
Right.
I think it's only really the two reasons, man. You're going to have a guy who knows what he's doing, right, for one. But number two, you got to have a pass protector. And I say he's probably the best pass protector out of all three of them, to be honest with you. So, he's understanding that, defensively, but that pass protection is so key. When you're talking about with a minute something left in the game, you need a guy to hold up, to pick up that blitz and linebacker, pick up the safety who's coming off the edge. So whoever it may be, man, I think that's the reason.
Yeah, because I was watching that game. I was like, give Le'Veon a 2-minute drill roll. Let him be that guy. But, I mean, yeah, the pass protection, that is key. And I remember during camp, they said CH was having a hard time grasping the pass protection.
So. Don't put it on his shoulders. No.
All right. Okay, so we're going to our final segment before we end the show. It's our Chiefs Kingdom Concern segment where I look at all the Chiefs Kingdom hot takes and get each of you to respond to one. Eric, our first Chiefs Kingdom Concerns for you, which comes from @JT He tweeted, Chiefs are going to have their hands full with Tampa Bay. If pass rush isn't 100% better, Brady's going to throw for 400 yards. Eric, what is your response to that?
I mean, I agree. And as I said earlier, I think Tom is still capable of putting up those kind of yardage and basically picking apart your defense if there's no pressure. I just think that after the last couple of weeks of seeing what offenses have been able to do, the Spags is going to come up with something to at least blitz the heck out of him and at least put Matthew in the deep end to roam around and make those plays so that our secondary and the overall defense can step up and make plays. Because Tom has been giving it away. He's out there like St. Nick, and he's giving out presents. So I think it's the right opportunity for us to come up and accept those.
Yeah, and Spags was the Brady beater in New York, but I don't know if he has the same amount of pass rushers as he had with that squad. But hopefully he can mix something up for us. All right, Jason closes out here with our final Chiefs Kingdom Concern from @Tony_Summer. He tweeted, the Chiefs scored 5 touchdowns on 5 drives of 70-plus yards. People will talk about the defense playing poorly, which we did on the show today, but the offense was unbelievable. Jason, what is your response to that tweet?
You know what? It's a good game for us, right? You talking about 5 drives over 70 yards plus. I mean that's tremendous. By any account on any Sunday. The thing is, against this defense, hopefully it'll happen. I don't see it though. I really don't see it. And the reason I say that is because just the air around what's going on for the whole entire game, and I think it's going to be a little bit more of that. The young gunslinger against the old gunslinger, and this is just the prelude, I think, to the Super Bowl. And I think Brady and them will do enough to kind of get in. In the NFC, I mean, it depends on what road everybody's going down. But I think, to me, this is like the game that's going to show, okay, is this going to be what the Super Bowl is going to look like? Plus, also, too, you got to come through Tampa for the Super Bowl as well. It's Super Bowl's in Tampa this year. So I know it's going to be a good showing, man. I got a friend down in Tampa, man. He constantly keeps talking about it. But, yeah, man, if you get 70 yards plus on 5 drives, I mean, that's a tremendous job. So hopefully you can just keep it up. That's all I can ask for. Just keep it up. Keep doing it.
I got a feeling that our receiving core and Kelsey is over there just licking their fingers like, we just saw 2 guys go and chop their defense up. So we're next in line.
I hope so. So, but shoot, Robinson's out this game, right? He got hurt this last game. So
Robinson, I know Pringle did. Is Robinson?
Was it Pringle got hurt? Pringle got hurt?
Yeah,
okay.
I think so.
All right.
But hopefully we have Watkins back this week, so that would be a huge boost.
Mm-hmm.
But we have you locked in. So Kansas City and Tampa Bay, that's what you're saying right now, Jason? We can lock you in on that?
You locked me in on that. That's what I see, man, in the Super. Somehow it just seems like this is one of those seasons, Cinderella, like, this is the year for Tampa. Tampa Bay's got the Super Bowl. You got Tom Brady. Gronk is looking like his old self. And so I think they may make a push for that to be the Super Bowl matchup. So either them or it's going to be Seattle. That's what I'm going with. So.
I don't know. So far, man, I know Green Bay lost this past week, but I can see being a Rodgers Mahomes Super Bowl. I know State Farm would love that.
Oh, I bet they would.
Cha-ching.
All those matchups you said would be huge for ratings, whether it's Brady Mahomes, Wilson Mahomes, Rodgers Mahomes. Yeah, I don't think they want a Jimmy G Mahomes ever again, but.
No,
All right. And before we go, since it's Thanksgiving week, I thought, let's talk about a little bit about food. What's your number one side going into Thanksgiving? Well, actually, no. What's your number one kind of appetizer meal to watch with the games, the early games on Thanksgiving? And then what's your number one side dish for your main course? Eric, I'll start with you.
Homemade mac and cheese.
Woo. Is that your appetizer for the to watch with the early games?
Oh, appetizer. Oh man, I'm a wings guy. You can give me wings for breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
JD, what you got?
Yeah, I like wings, man. But we do like my daughter does a mad cheese ball, and plus we do like fruit. I'm a good, I love fruit. I'm a fruit guy, so that's my little appetizers for the game. But my main side dish, woo, man, I love some broccoli casserole. Broccoli casserole is good. Yeah, and Brussels sprouts. So I'm getting into my vegetables a little bit more, man. I love them things. When you start getting a little older, man, you gotta eat a little bit better. Eat. I love them wings too, man. But sometimes I gotta put them jokers down. You gotta put them down. Start looking like a wing around here, around the midsection.
Looking like a drum.
Right.
Yeah, I'd probably go a homemade 5-layer dip that my mom makes. And then for but for my side dish, I either go candy yams or homemade mac and cheese. You can't go wrong with either one of those.
Yeah, that 5-layer dip is good.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. All right, guys. Well, that brings it to an end. We'll see you next week when we discuss the Buccaneers game and discuss the upcoming Broncos game. If anyone in Chiefs Kingdom has any Chiefs concerns for these two, please tweet at us at @ConcernsChief, and please subscribe and follow Chief Concerns on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. Gentlemen, I hope you have a happy and healthy Thanksgiving, guys.
Thanks, man. You too.
All right, guys.